Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with today's trading action. All right, now the non-farm payrolls front and center. Let me just drag the calendar across. Now we've got some key data here. Now this is one of the hardest things that you could possibly trade. It is really a bit of a guess, and it's become a lot more diversified because the central banks are looking at a number of different things: average hourly earnings, the payroll changes, and obviously the unemployment rate. Now, if you want to really focus on what the market players look at first, it's the unemployment rate and the non-farm payrolls itself. Now, here's the two numbers, 200K and 3.9. There's the range for the non-farm payrolls, 150 to 245 and 3.8 to 3.9. Now, the market, if I just come back to the market a second, like the market is waiting for, really waiting for the CPI numbers, not necessarily the non-farm payrolls. The non-farm payrolls will be a bit of a hit and giggle. It'll chop the market up, but it's no long-lasting sort of conclusion of what the Fed are going to do, right? Now, where these instruments are, we've seen the after the ISM manufacturing numbers Monday, we've seen the euro bounce, sterling bounce, Aussie bounce, Kiwi bounce. The dollar did come off, but dollar CAD sort of got itself up off the floor. A few scares there in dollar yen, and a little bit of chop suey action there, dollar Swiss. And the dollar index, well, it just hasn't made up its mind, has it? Right? And that's because the market's waiting. There's all these false moves. And that's what we're waiting for. Will today's data help that? Not at all, right? Now, this is a data release that I wouldn't really be promoting as a great trading opportunity, right? Because you do have so many variables here that you've got to consider, right? Because we might get some decent outcomes here on the non-farms and unemployment rate, but then the average hourly earnings could sort of screw things up, as well as some other components like the private payrolls may come into play, right? So there's really just too many things. And then, like every second month, you get the Canadian numbers at the same time. Now the Canadian numbers are a lot more easier to manage. You've got the unemployment rate and the employment change, right? Pretty much the same as the Aussie. So, you know what? I'd be sort of saying, yeah, trade the Canadian numbers. This is a better opportunity. Dollar CAD's got a bit more rhythm to it. But you know what? The other side of the equation, the dollar is the focus, and that'll drag the Canadian dollar around. Okay, so like this, it doesn't get trickier than this. The live trading sessions, would I be covering this? I'd say probably not, because if anything, I sort of sit back, especially on these numbers. You sit back and wait to see what the numbers are, how they react, looking for good trend lines like you've got here on sterling, maybe here on euro, and these sorts of things. But we've got that many variables coming out. It's more like a sporting event than a trading event. Okay. Now, for those traders who are either new to this or have got short-term memories, you can expect wide price fluctuations right on the release, right? All the banks pull their liquidity. So if you're looking to get in here with a pending order either side of the market, you will get kicked in and get flushed out before the number comes out or right on the release, right? So it's extremely dangerous. It's one of those numbers that if you had to, like you're about to drop dead, right? Like hypothetically, yeah, you go into it and have a bit of a lash, right? But we're not in that situation. We're trading. We're looking for responsible trading opportunities with good risk management. This doesn't really come into play. If anything, if you really were looking for something, like dollar CAD could be the one, right? Because if we get, say, strong Canadian numbers, weak US numbers, well, you know what? We're going to see dollar CAD scream to the downside and vice versa. But do we often see the Canadian numbers and the US numbers at opposite ends? Not really, right? Now, this is a lead-in. This is like a short-term trading opportunity leading into the CPI numbers, US CPI numbers. I think they're next week. So just keep an eye on it. 200, 150 to 245 and 3.9. Very tight range on the unemployment. We'll see how that goes. So ideally, to me, like it'd be great to see weak numbers come in, because then it pushes the Fed into a corner. We start to get the Fed cutting rates. So what do we need? We need a number for a weak dollar move below 150 and above 3.9, right? They're your two numbers for a weak dollar move. Okay. So just to finish up, just for the other side of the equation, If you're looking for strong numbers, above 245 and below 3.8, right? That'll give you a strong dollar outcome. And then you can try and work out which of these major currency pairs you want to be trading, because some of them are in the middle of nowhere. And with that creates more uncertainty. You can be sure as hell the banks won't be leaving their liquidity out there just to see what's going on. All right. Now, just on the face of it too, a little bit of a tricky situation here market-wise. The US equity futures are up, but we're seeing sterling Aussie Kiwi down and the dollar up, right? The bond prices are down, means the yields are high. So that supports a stronger dollar. And that's what we're seeing on the currencies, but it doesn't really make sense with the equity markets, right? So just be aware that the market connections between the bonds, the equities, and the currencies have been going in and out of click all week, right? So that's just something else to probably scale back some of your risk, because if you don't see everything lining up, moving perfectly the way they should, well, that's an alarm bell that things aren't exactly right, and you may want to just sort of sit back and have a look. Anyway, that's my take on it. This isn't a great one. I just wanted to give you a bit of a heads up, give you a bit of a reminder about the volatile conditions around the release. It's no easy trade, that's for sure. Anyway, all the best. Have a good one. Cheerio.